Hi everyone, my name is Cyndi Bergloff and I am the Summer Featured Member Artist at WPCA.
Cyndi, why should people become members of WPCA?
The reason why I strongly believe people should become members of WPCA is that WPCA stands for social justice, it stands for equity. It provides opportunities for folks who come from often underrepresented communities in arts. So it gives folks a platform to be able to share arts that are not always put on the forefront.
What does it mean to be a featured member?
So I think for me, being a featured member means that I get to share the stories of my community first and foremost, and that's been something that's been really important to me. So a lot of my art speaks about how within the realm of an Indigenous lens, how is mental health looked at, how is missing and murder Indigenous women looked at, and can I use art as a platform? And I think it also means that I, as an artist, get to challenge myself. So for me, I never saw myself as an artist until I became a member of WPCA, and through various workshops and opportunities to showcase my artwork, I finally saw myself as an artist. So being a featured member really gave me that confidence.
And how is it that it brings value to your life?
I think the way that being a featured member brings value to my life is the fact that come September, I'm going to be teaching young folks. I'm going to be teaching Anishinaabe-Moan, or as in English, we call it Ojibwe language. And the way it brings value to my life is the fact that as an artist, I never saw Native artists in any of the art classes I had growing up. And so for me as a teacher, I finally get to take this experience of what is it like going through the process of being an artist to showcase my artwork and learning about the history of Anishinaabe art and bring that into a language classroom. And so for me, being a featured member artist really gave me the value of learning how to speak on and share back with my community.
So talk about your art process.
I think a lot of my art process very much goes down to very specific experiences. So my most recent series that I put up is a series roughly translated to "They told me not to touch this." And that was kind of a thing growing up where I was an anxious kid. I would just I joke that I'm like a little shaking, nervous dog. And for me, that came out in many ways. So I was a nail biter and I was always told, don't do this, don't do this. And for me, that kind of hurt because it wasn't something I could control. So I wanted to take that experience from when I was growing up and share it with folks of there are people who go through these experiences every day and they can't control these urges. And so I ended up taking that and trying to think of what are other experiences that people have that they feel that they can't help but touch. And for me, it was creating beadwork. And so every time I wear my traditional native beadwork, whether it be earrings, a necklace, I have a lot of non-native people who are like, I need to touch this. And they touch it without consent. And so I took the items that really bothered me growing up that I felt like I had to manipulate, such as fingernails, and I would beaded that so other folks could understand that this was something that was an urge that I had, and to really kind of connect that experience to others. So my my process is very rooted in these experiences, thinking about how is it I can share these micro experiences with others in a way that can connect to them. Some of my other artwork include my colonizer and his talking stick. And that one is based off of really hurtful phrases I heard growing up about me and my community. And I took each of those little things and put them on birch bark, something that is valuable to my community, to represent the very much present phrases that are in my life and how they become something that's obtrusive. So very much through this experience in my process, I try to really relay that feeling of how it affects me and put it in other people's faces in the same way that it affects me. And I like to do that in a lot of different mediums, everything from felt to beadwork to birch bark, clay, and the key point of all of it is they're all very tactile mediums. So things that I like to get my hands in and really manipulate them and feel them, because in my community we're taught that everything that we're working we put our spirit into. So if I can get my hands into it and really work with it, it makes me feel like it's even more of an integral piece of my art.
And with all of this, how does WPCA support it?
I think that WPCA supports it because they have given me a platform and a space to create a lot of this artwork. So I think one of the useful things I've had was being able to attend workshops with mentors like Jim Kelly from the Oneida Nation and learn how to do different beadwork techniques, which some of them I applied in my pieces downstairs, or having access to a kiln, which is something that's kind of hard to get access to. It's something that ends up being a gatekeeping measure for a lot of people who are interested in ceramics. Of having access to a kiln, you have to be someone who, you have to know somebody to get that. So for me, having access to that was a huge resource. And I think having a space that I can get feedback on my artwork, get critiqued, and be able to learn and share these skills with other people has made me feel like a more confident artist. So that's what WPCA has provided for me.
What message would you give to future featured member artists?
I think the thing I would share with future featured member artists is the fact that, like, take that risk. If there's something that you're like, oh, I don't know, this seems kind of weird, like, go for it. You were chosen for a reason. Like, your artwork matters, and that we want to see what perspectives you have to offer the Walker's Point community. We've had so many different kinds of artists featured in the featured member show, and each one of them has brought such a different aspect that it continues to support and challenge previous featured members as well as inspire future featured members. And the other piece of advice is make sure that you keep an eye on your timeline, because the featured member show, it will sneak up on you. So make sure you're realistic in what you want to do, and like, make sure you plan that out, because it's a really great experience once you put it up. But the important thing is feeling confident and secure in what you're putting up.
And if people want to find you on social media or anything, where can they?
Okay, so there's two areas of social media that I'm most present on. On Twitter, you can find me at Bashkapi, and we'll make sure to put that in the description. And Bashkapi is an Ojibwe word, which means they burst out laughing. And I feel like that's very reflective of my personality, just lots of laughter and joy. And my Instagram handle is Buffalo Knitter, because I love to knit.
Thank you for your time, Cyndi.
Of course. Thank you, WPCA.